So, good morning, guys. Let's keep it this. Dzień dobry. It's the two words, well, two of the three words that I can tell you in Polish, okay? So, bom dia in Portuguese, okay? So, today we'll talk a little bit about CMMI. Who knows anything about CMMI? Can you raise your hand? Okay, some. Okay, mostly the international speakers, so it's not a known topic in Poland. So I will try to give you also some background, some knowledge about CMMI. Okay, and then we will touch Agile. Who knows about Agile? Yeah, okay, a little bit different. So I will tell you about Agile, about CMMI, what is good, what is bad, and what is really, really ugly. But before that, a little bit about myself. I will not bother you too much about this, but I started as a developer, then I moved to management side, you know, the dark side, too dark. And then I found out the light. So I became a tester, doing manual testing, doing automation, functional, non-functional, all of that. Okay, and I can tell you now that for me to be a tester, it's without any doubt the most challenging role in the IT world. Okay, if someone is telling you something different, please don't believe on them. And this is my translation of my name to Polish, okay, Oliveira, something like that. So next, something about my country, okay. And if you were in test dive some weeks ago, you already saw this. If not, you will see it for the first time. I think it deserves it. So I'm from Portugal. Do you know Portugal? Yes? Good. So if you don't know Portugal, let me give you some reasons to visit it, okay? The best destination, the best beach destination, the best island destination, and plus 33 different awards for tourism, okay? And also hottest destination. So this was this year. Last year we received almost the same awards. So it's good. We have everything that you would like to visit, from beach, from mountains, good food. And besides that, some more about Portugal. We were selected, or we were elected, the friendliest country in the world towards immigrants. I didn't know that there was something like this, but there was, and Portugal was selected. And guess what? We need testers. So if you are thinking in a nice country, nice weather, nice food, you can search for tester jobs PT on the LinkedIn, on this hashtag, and you will find almost every single day new offers, okay? But I also asked for some help. So I cannot read this. Hopefully you will be able to read this. So this is one of the persons from my team. And I asked her, so what can I tell to my Polish friends about Portugal? And she wrote something that you will be able to read in a second. Yeah? Okay. So, again, for me, that's just some words. I don't know exactly what it means. I actually had to trim down some of these sentences, okay? So hopefully it will make sense anyway. Because she said lots of things about Portugal. I said, well, I cannot spend so much time on that. It's only one slide, so I did some copy and paste. So if something is strange there, it's my fault, okay? She's a proper Polish speaker. Okay, and if you need more information, more context, just search for her on LinkedIn, Paulina Surnema, and she will be glad to give you some more context about Portugal. But let's talk about CMMI. Okay, so CMMI stands for Capability Maturity Model Integration. Okay, and it's global recognized, and you can say not in Poland. I will accept that. But other than that, it's globally recognized, a set of best practice to enable organizations to improve. Okay, not only software development. It can also be applied to other types of industries, but it's mainly applied for software development. So if you look to the CMMI book, you will not find the word software. It's not only for software. And this model tries to focus on the improvement of the process. Okay? Well, it will come. Okay. So in the end, I will also share these slides, so you can have the slides with the reference. So what is this CMMI? And I will try to compare CMMI and Agile from that perspective. Okay, I know that they are not the same thing. It's not easy to compare them. We should not compare them, but I will try to give you some context so that you can see the difference. So CMMI was developed by a group with industry, with the government, and with the Software Engineer Institute at Carnegie Mellon University in the States. Okay, and it was developed from 1987 to 1997. Yeah, they were using Agile to implement this, and every 4 years they did a new release. You know, pretty Agile team, right? With this minor release every 4 years. So 22 version 1.1, 26 version 1.2, 2010 version 0.3, and in 18 version 2.0. Okay, it's not so easily known, the last version. Why? Because today this is administered by a CMMI Institute, so it's a company. Before it was free, now it's no longer free. Okay, so you need to pay for the model. Actually, all the reference for the previous versions of the model, I was not able to find them any longer. So I don't know if they just removed them. But before, everything was online, free, and now you need to pay to access to the model. One important difference when you compare CMMI with Agile is that CMMI is required for some contracts. So if you are working with, for example, with the Department of Defense in the United States, you will need to have CMMI. Not just CMMI, but a specific level of CMMI, depending on the type of the projects. Okay? And it's not only in the States. So it's mainly related with the critical areas, with the critical projects, so if projects where you cannot fail. Does it mean that you cannot use Agile? No. But it means that by the contract, you are required most of the times to have this level of appraisal of CMMI. And I will give you some more detail about this. So just to understand, CMMI provides different models for different areas. So actually, development for product and service development, service for service establishment and management, acquisition, mainly for the suppliers and vendors, so process for that. And in the last version, they introduced also people management process. Okay, only on version 2.0. And actually, in the 2.0, they changed these, and now they are merging these process areas. So they changed the model, I will say, a lot between the previous versions and these new versions. So what is used for? So the main purpose of the CMMI model is to guide process improvement. Okay, so you have lots of process in your company, I believe, how to improve them. Okay, not only the direct process when you are developing software, but also the indirect. So for example, human resource process, how to improve them. Okay? And this can be done at project, at division or unit, or at level of the organization. So when we are comparing CMMI with Agile, CMMI is more at project or organization level, while Agile is more at team level. Yes, we can scale from team to organization, but usually it's this way around, right? You don't start with an Agile organization and then we see, maybe we also need to have Agile teams. Usually it's the other way around, right? So with CMMI, you start with the organization level from the beginning. Okay? It doesn't make sense. You can do that at project level, but I don't know any company that is doing that at project level. They can do it at division level. Why? Because it's easier, simpler. Okay? So if you need to have a contract with some Department of Defense, you say, we will only work with this department. So we only need to have accreditation of CMMI for this department. cheaper, easier to accredit the full organization. That's a huge effort, and it also depends on the level. So, but besides being a model to support the process improvement, it's also a framework for appraising the process maturity. Okay, so what this means is that the model itself, they have this appraisal, not a certification, but an appraisal of the organization, and they have also a standard process to do the appraisal itself. So to compare your organizational process according to the standards of the model, okay, to the best practice of the model, okay. And it provides two different representations, at least on version 1.3. The continuous one, it means that you look to a process, to a specific process, and you are able to improve that specific process. Okay, for example, requirements management, and you are only improvement the requirements management. But as you know, one process without all the other ones doesn't make any sense, right? One process is made of inputs from different process and outputs to other process. So this is not really used, and what is used, it's the staged. And for the stage, you have a standard sequence of improvements, so different levels that you work with. And it's also useful to compare the maturity between different organizations. When you are working with Agile, do you compare different projects? Saying different teams, oh, we are more Agile than the next guys. Comparing against what? Yeah. So, one question? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, some of them, yes. But between teams, yes, and it's true, and we have now some more models that are starting to do that. But so for CMMI, that was from the beginning, while Agile, it came later on. That was not in the beginning. Okay, so CMMI, that was from the beginning, that was the purpose, to be able to compare different companies. Why? Again, tracing back to the contracts. I have two companies, I need to establish a contract with them, and I need to have some way to compare their maturity level according to the process. Why? Well, Agile is known for the fail fast, right? We fail, we learn, we try again, and we try to improve. And what if you are sending, a rocket to the space? Oh, no problem. We fail, we try again, and we try another rocket. No, it doesn't work that way, right? So you need to predict the output. You need to know what will happen. So CMMI, it's also about that, okay? Process and process according to the best practice to ensure that you are able to predict the output. So different teams will have the same process, and hopefully the output will be the same or at least similar. So looking to this, everyone that is somehow touched by CMMI knows this image, and you can see that they have 5 levels. Okay, so the first one, they will say that it's for free. It's the initial one. So processes are unpredictable, poorly controlled. It's more reactive. Second, it's managed. Then you have defined, quantity, managed, and optimization. Now they changed to a different one, but it basically stays the same, and introduced also a new one that is the level 0, incomplete. So there is no process, or no one knows the process. Okay? So I will challenge you to try to map yourself, your team, your company into this. Okay? Try to understand where you are. Just with this simple description, try to understand what will be the level of your organization. So in this case, you may or may not get the work done, right? You never know. Sometimes the project is done, sometimes no, it's not done. It's not completed. So it's just important you try the next one. So the initial one, it's still unpredictable, it's still reactive. So something happens and you react. Okay? You are not forecasting anything. You don't know what will happen. You're just looking to the today. Okay, some problem was raised, let's fix it now. How? We don't know. Okay? There is no process for that. Or let's start a new process now. So the work gets completed, but usually you have delays and or over budget. Okay, so if you know the terms on time, on budget, on quality, usually that's not level 1. Okay. So the second one, it's managed. This means that you have this process. The process is being managed, but it's at project level. So different projects, different teams in the same organization can have different process. Okay? So from the contract point of view, if you are working with this company, it means that if you are working with the team A or with the team B, they can provide you different outputs. So the process is not the same. In this case, the projects are already planned, they are performed, so we already have some monitoring and control in place. The third one, it's defined. Yeah, it's coming back. So defined, it means that it's already organization-wide. Okay. This means that if you are working in one team in the organization and you move to a different team, they are following the same process. So you know what to expect. Okay? So you have more control. Again, remember, from the contract point of view, from the external point of view, if someone is working with you, then they are also expecting the same level of service, the same type of outputs, the same type of process. So this is the third level. And most of the companies, so as I said, level 1 is free. Everyone has some kind of process. But level 3, usually it's what every company is targeting for. Okay, usually level 3 it's the minimum. Then you have level 4 and 5, and only some companies try to achieve level 4 and level 5. Okay, why? Because of also the costs that it involves and the maturity that it requires. And again, if you are talking about level 4 or level 5 and even level 3, please take in consideration that we are talking about all the process in your organization. So you can be quite good on the implementation, not so good on testing, and even worse in requirements. So when we are talking about these levels, you need to be at the same level across all the process, or even some levels above. Okay, you cannot be below. If you are below, then you need to improve that. So in this case, on quantitative management, so you are collecting data, and that's a big challenge. Why? Collect data in our days, it's easy, but to collect data in an autonomous way and to identify what is the right data that you need to collect, that's the challenge. You need to collect this data that will enable you to move to the next step, and next step, it's level 5. So that's why most of the companies that move from level 3 up, they go from 3 to 5. Okay, why? There is no reason to collect data if you will not use it. So level 5, it's to use this data. With level 5, you try to, based on the data, you try to optimize your process, to understand what you can improve. Yes, we also do this with Agile, but do you do it based on data or based on your experience? Oh, I think last sprint, it was not so good. We need to stop doing this, we need to start doing that. But do you do that based on data? Yeah? Only on what is known. So in this, it's all about data. All the improvements are based on statistical models. Okay? So it's quite formal. All the process, all the improvement process for level 5, they need to be based on statistical models. If not, they are not accepted from the appraisal point of view as a high maturity model improvement process. Okay? So some process errors, just for you to also to get some idea about what I'm talking for. So level 2, manage. You have configuration management, measure analysis, project monitoring control, project planning, PPQA, requirements management, supply agreement management. Okay? Do you have all this process at your company? It's a lot of process, right? Well, this is just for level 2. Okay, we have more. So for level 3, defined, And you can see that one already in front, right? So it's more than one. So it's DAR, decision analysis and resolution. And well, yesterday there was a talk about root cause analysis, right? So it also relates with this. So to take decisions based on some more formal process. IPM, integrated project management, organizational process definition, organization process focus, organizational training. So, for example, if you have training in your company, do you have a process to manage that? How is it done? You have a team and say, well, yeah, I think it's better to have some training. Yeah, we didn't have any training this year, so let's have some training, right? Everyone is asking for training. Or do we have a training plan for more than 1 year? So the first time that I defined the training plan for my team, it was 9 years, a 9 years training plan. That was mapped also with career management. So it was mapped also to other different process areas. Level 3, second page, product integration, requirements development, risk management, technical solution, validation, verification. Yeah, these ones. Okay. So again, plus 11. Okay. Level 3. Okay. Level 4 and level 5, much smaller, hopefully, but not so easy to achieve. So the first one for level 4, OPP, organizational process performance, and quantitative project management. So if you remember, on level 3, we already have project management. On level 2, we are already having project management. The difference is that from level 2 to level 3, you have integrated project management. So you look to the project as a whole. From a holistic point of view, you need to connect all these different areas as a project manager. And level 4, you do project management based on data, based on numbers, based on statistics that you collect from your history. So you are looking, it's like managing a project with a GPS system that will tell you where you will land. Okay? Instead of going without any map, so more than one map, you have this GPS that will help you to achieve the goal. And then you have level 5, optimization. Again, just two process areas, the CAR and the organizational performance management. Again, we are moving to the top and we are moving more towards the organization level. And level 4 and level 5, as I said, is about optimization. So as you can see, we are talking about 27 different process areas. That's a lot. Okay. I don't know your development process. I don't know how many process areas do you have, but these are lots of process areas. And every process area, they have generic goals and generic practice. And, for example, training people, that's a generic practice. Okay? And you can have training for all that process areas. So you can train in requirements, you can train in verification, you can train in project management. So this is a generic practice that you need to prove, you need to show evidence that you are planning this. You are doing this in advance, you are not reacting to this. And you also have specific goals and specific practice. So for these 27 process areas, you have all of these. One example, for example, for the process area of verification, you have a specific goal that is to perform peer reviews. And for to prove that, one of the practice that you are expected to execute, it's the preparation for the peer reviews. So when we are talking about appraisal at CMMI level 5, we are also ensuring this. This is not level 5, but it's for the previous ones, level 3, if I'm not wrong. Okay? So you need to ensure all this practice. To remember about CMMI, well, it's a model, it's not a standard. Okay? The first mistake that you can see in a company when they are trying to achieve level 3, for example, or level 4, level 5, usually those levels, they do not do these kind of mistakes, but for level 3, it's quite common that they try to implement the model. So the model says you need to have code reviews and you need to have these kind of artifacts as an output. and then it's a mapping one-to-one. It shouldn't be like that. It's only an example. Okay? It's not how you do it. How you do it depends on your context, on your company. If you try to implement a model, you will fail for sure. Okay? And so the model itself just describes these different levels, okay, in abstract terms. So it's not giving you the right directions. Okay? Abstract. So keep this in mind. It does not provide a prescription. It's not like you need to do it this way. No. You need to do this global objective, you know, this goal. How you achieve it, it's with you. They give you some examples, but they are not giving you a prescription. So they only provide this information and examples. Okay? Don't follow the model as a prescription. That is wrong. And by the way, it's wrong in Agile also. Okay? So it's not only in CMMI. So the implementation with the details depends on your company. It depends on your culture, depends on your teams. Okay? Don't try to follow the model. Okay? If you go with your CMMI book and let's say, okay, let's start to move into CMMI, that's the first step to make it wrong. So CMMI in Poland, I was curious about this because it looks like no one knew about CMMI. And yeah, we have some. Okay, we have some companies. So CMMI Dev version 1.3, we have 3 companies at maturity level 3 and 2 at maturity level 5. Okay, not bad. If you look to the global numbers all over the world, it's not so common level 5. So the number of companies that achieved level 5 worldwide, it's a small, really small number. But you also have some for service, 2 at level 3. Okay, as I said, most of the companies try to achieve level 3, only a few of them try to target for level 5. So what about Agile? So let's talk now a little bit about Agile. And well, you know this, right? Agile, an approach to software development, and tries to focus on this collaborative effort, self-organization teams, and cross-functional teams, right? Everyone knows this definition, I believe. And so what is Agile all about? So I did, if you remember, I talked about CMMI and how it was defined. So it was developed by a group. Yeah, Agile, it was also developed by a group. No surprise here. But it was a group of individuals, not like in CMMI that it was, you know, this industry, it was academia, it was the government. So 17 software developers, not in a university. So they just went to a resort and to create the Agile. So, and this can be tracked actually before the CMMI, so 1957, and it evolved over the times. I think in 90s it started to grow even more, but I'll say that the big bump on this was on 2001 with the Manifesto for Agile Software Development. And 10 years later, the guide for the Agile practice. Okay. Well, if you look to the numbers, it doesn't look also so much Agile, right? It took a lot of time, but usually it's how these things work. So it took a lot of time for this process to be developed, to be implemented, and to be spread. So please remember that the manifest, it was in 2001, but if you trace to the Agile practice, they are much older than that, right? Only in 2001, these guys decided, well, let's define a little bit more what this Agile is all about. So they said that Agile, it's about individuals and iterations over process and tools. They said that it's about working software over comprehensive documentation, about customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and it's responding to change over following a plan. But they don't say just do it on the left, don't do it on the right side, right? But you know several teams that look to these manifests like that, right? Saying, oh, Agile, then we don't need the documentation. Oh, Agile, what process? It's Agile. Why do we need a process? You know, well, let's run it, and if we fail, no problem. It's Agile. we will try again, right? You know teams like that? Yeah? Everyone knows teams like that, right? Unfortunately. Yeah, so you can look to this model in a different ways. So by one side, you have CMMI model with 27 process areas, and I don't know how many different goals and specific and generic practice. And by the other side, you have Agile with just 4 lines. Much simpler. So by one side, you have lots of rules, lots of constraints, lots of examples. You have a big book to guide you. On the other side, not so much. And now, yes, now we have some more documentation, right? But in the beginning, when it starts, there was no so much documentation about this. So let's move to the next part. Agile, CMMI, the good, the bad, and the ugly, okay? And when I'm talking about Agile CMMI, it's about companies that were CMMI somehow, some level, and now they are trying to move into Agile. Okay? Usually merging both of them together. Okay? So that's, please understand that as Agile CMMI. And do you know any stories? So probably you don't know because you didn't know about CMMI, but for the ones that know about CMMI, do you know any story about a failed CMMI project? Do you remember anything like that? Use case, we tried CMMI and we failed. We are proud of that. Do you know? Of course not. Why? Because the first move, so the purpose of moving to CMMI was to be recognized in the market, to be able to achieve some specific contracts. There is no point saying we tried CMMI and we failed, right? No one is interested on that. So that's not something that you will find on the media saying, yeah, we tried, we failed, we learned, we are better now. No. If something fails, no one will tell. Okay, so, oh, we failed. Maybe it's better not to tell to our customers that we are not CMMI. Okay? So, but again, for Agile, I will say it's more or less the same. Even when you fail Agile, you say, yeah, we failed, we improved, but it's not so common to see those stories in the news. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. Do you know this movie? Yeah, so I don't feel so old. So the good is the focus on the process. So again, please remember, we are trying to merge CMMI and Agile, and the focus on the process is quite good. Why? Because Agile, without any other framework, okay? I know that we have frameworks like SAFe that can help us with this, but without any other framework, Agile itself, it's not focused on process, right? It's more on people, working software, and not on this process and on documentation. So when we are trying to merge CMMI with Agile, we have this framework that is quite strong on process, and it's quite strong on monitoring and control, and that can help us with the Agile. So when you, for example, when you fail on your sprint, why did you fail? Do you have any statistical data that will help you to understand why you failed, what you need to improve? Usually, I don't know any Agile team that is doing that if they are not in a CMMI company. So with the CMMI, they will have this statistical data that will help them to improve the process with this monitoring and control, and also the uniformization of practice. And that's my opinion. If I'm working with one team and I want to switch to a different team, I want them to work in a similar way. Of course, they will have different, let's say, different understandings of the same process, but if I'm working on the same company, I'm expecting the same level of process, the same tools, the same process, so I don't need to learn everything from scratch. It shouldn't be like starting in a new company every time I switch to a different team. But again, I don't know if the Agile practitioners agree with me or not. This is my opinion. Continuous improvement, not just by the continuous improvement itself, because you can argue that Agile is also about continuous improvement, but it's based on statistical methods. That will be the main difference. And a very good thing is that you can actually use both of them. You don't need to choose between Agile and CMMI. You can merge both of them. Of course, you need to know quite well both of the models, but you can learn from both of them, and you can use the best of both worlds. The bad. So the bad is that the process can be quite heavy. Okay? Especially if you didn't understood the CMMI model quite well, you can just implement the book, and all your process will be quite heavy. So when you are trying to merge CMMI and Agile, you need also to understand that you need to make some of your process a little bit lighter. Does it mean that you need to lose all the monitoring and control? No, that's the challenge. You need to make it lighter, but without losing all the good things that you have. So the traditional tools and the whole mindset and the traditional artifacts. So it's a mindset change, as you know. When we are talking about Agile, the challenge is the mindset. Everyone is talking about the cultural change, the mindset change that you need to have. If you are working in a CMMI organization, that will be the main challenge. You know, to change the mindset. And most of the times you are requested to use the same mindset, the same tools that you are using for Agile. Oh, according to CMMI, according to our process, you need to have a requirements document. Say, yeah, but I'm working with Agile now, I have user stories. Yeah, but export your user stories and call it a software requirements document, because it's what it says in the process. Okay? So old traditional artifacts, old mindset. And yeah, not always this agility is in place. Sometimes we are just inefficient because we are doing, basically we are trying to do Agile and CMMI at the same time. So it's like Agile and Waterfall at the same time. We are trying to be in both of the worlds, and that it means that instead of trying to achieve some efficiency, we are just losing time. Just building things because the process says so. Okay? And yeah, when you are doing that, you can expect some team frustration, for sure. No one likes to do things just because you need to do it, or else the auditor will come and someone will complain. Almost finishing, the ugly ones. So it is not bad, but it's really, really ugly. If you try to look for this kind of companies, and you see that all the new names, but the old rules. So we have project managers, we have technical managers, we have QAs, and now what? Where do we fit them? Oh, we only have a product owner, a scrum master. So what we do to the project managers? Send them away? Technical managers. Oh, we do not need technical managers. The team knows what to do. Even if it's just some young guys just came out of the university, they don't need a technical manager. So we need to find some match for this, and that's a challenge. Okay? And sometimes these merge, it's just ugly. It's not even bad, it's something really, really ugly. So you need to understand that this is a different methodology, it's a different game with a different set of rules. Okay, so you need to understand that, you need to adapt, and you need to change your mindset. So that was all about CMMI and Agile. My third word, the Jenki. Jenki. Okay, and you have my contacts and some questions? Yeah, 2.
Basing on your experience, how do you think, what's the level of most of the organizations? It seems that it could be second, but thinking about delays and budget, maybe it is 1.
Yeah, we are still failing in projects. And I think today we are reverting that. Even in companies that were level 3 and level 5 in the past, I see them going back. with Agile and with the freedom to the teams. It's not freedom to the people, but it's freedom to the teams. All the team is, everyone is defining their own process, using their own tools. And that, in my opinion, it's not how it should be. So yes, we are going back. So probably I agree with you. Instead of level 3, most of the companies are now level 1 and going back.
I have a question. This process, well, this framework, let's call it a framework, looks really heavy. So, when would I want to implement it at a company?
Okay, yeah, it's not light, it's heavy, and it's it's for markets that will pay for it, basically, especially if you move to level 3 or level 5. But you can use the model without looking for the appraisal. Okay, you can just look to the model and try to learn with it. With the version 1.3, they introduced also some agile practice into the model. So if you are looking for level 4 and 5, yeah, that's quite heavy and quite expensive, and not all the companies will be able to achieve that level. Not all the companies will benefit from that. So as I said, it's also a requirement if you are working with some companies, with some markets. If you are working in safety critical systems, probably you should look into this. Okay.
So adoption is sort of like ISO 9001 requirement.
Yeah, if you are looking, for example, for just a software for a mobile app, should we use this? Probably not. Okay. Should we use Agile? Yeah, it's much more adjusted to that. But as I said, you can use both of them. Okay? The problem is that when you try to merge them in a way that is not efficient, or when you stick just with one or the other, saying, okay, now we are working with this software for planes, but we only work with Agile, so we'll keep it Agile. Okay? Well, they said that now the new American fighters, they will start using Agile as a software development. Let's see. Let's see how it works.
Okay, one more question.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, thank you for the presentation. I have one question about the CMMI. So you said that it is designed to allow comparison of the companies.
Yes.
And I still feel that all of those levels are not really sharp. So there was even a word that projects are often not delayed. So often doesn't seems to be pretty sharp.
Yeah.
And the problem that I have is that the CMMI looks really complex. And it really looks like that to compare two companies, you have to define at which level you are.
Yes.
And it's first thing, so I'm missing the criteria, so how to do it. And the second thing is that it looks a bit to me that the comparison process itself is a kind of preparing huge documents and just a paperwork for lawyers or for the people that like the paperwork. And I am the developer working only with Agile right now, and I'm just curious how to do it. So, is it efficient? Could it be efficient?
Yeah, it can be efficient. So CMMI can be efficient if correctly implemented. If you are with the wrong mindset for Agile, you will fail. If you are with wrong mindset for CMMI, you will fail. Yes, you can just produce paperwork to the auditor, and you are trying to fool yourself that you are in a specific level. The audit itself, the appraisal itself, that's the right name, they have a process defined for that, a quite heavy process, and usually it takes at least 1 week, okay, for the appraisal. And we are talking about, for example, in my case, I was in an appraisal team, level 3 and level 5. And in our case, we are talking about 8 persons during 1 week trying to appraise a subset of projects according to a specific set of rules. So that process, it's well defined. So we need to have training before that. So I need to understand the appraisal process. I need to understand the model itself. And the appraisal team is built with external appraisals. Usually the team leaders for the appraisal team are external members, certified appraisals, and then all the other members are from the company itself, because they also defend that the team members are the ones that know best about the team, about the process, about the company, about the organization. So they try to do this, and it's a quite heavy process, but it's I will say it's a standard for the appraisal, and they have different controls for the appraisal process to ensure that if you have two companies rated at the same level, you can compare the process. Even if the implementation is different, according to the model, they are on that level.